pretty good there. You can see I almost fell off the board going frontwards. So clip that pretty good. Being a little bit higher on the board, maybe catch it at
One hand on a bottle, she got one hand on a gun. She squeezed that trigger.
What's going on, everybody? Scott Hogan coming at you. We're back. We're here in the studio. What if I told you there were only 3 shots that you needed to work on to drastically improve your scores? If you're not working on one of these 3 areas, you're probably not going to see an improvement in your scores. Now, that isn't to say if you're working on a different area or using different clubs than what I'm going to talk about, then you are not getting better, because maybe you're doing a mechanical change. Maybe you're working on trying to move a little differently. Those things will help you and give you more opportunities to shoot lower scores. But in reality, improving your skill with 3 areas of your game are going to make that difference. And those 3 areas are going to be your driver, your putter, and then your wedges. Now today, we're going to talk about the wedges, because I think this is a vastly overlooked part of the game for many players. They just take it for granted that when they get close, if they can hit a 7-iron onto the green, then they're going to be able to hit a wedge onto the green. Well, first off, they might not hit a 7-iron onto the green, but hitting a wedge is not like you would do for a normal full swing. It does have some differences that make a big impact in what we're doing. And the big reason for that is when we're hitting a wedge, we have so much loft on these clubs. We have 60 degrees, 56 degrees, 52. Whatever your setup of wedges is, you have a lot of loft compared to your middle end or lower end of the bag. So the challenge that brings is we will struggle with having the ball go too high. Now, that is something that we need to try to work on so we can dial in our distances and we don't come up short. If you're one of those players that hits the ball high, comes up short, this is going to be the video for you. Now, when we watch really, really good players with their wedges, a couple of things that we notice. One, they hit the ball a lot lower than you expect. They drive these wedges low. That helps them create spin. That also helps them have a little bit more control over how far that ball is carrying. The land spot is a lot easier to predict if you keep the ball down. Once the ball starts elevating, it can get affected by wind, can be affected by it's up in the air more. If you're playing somewhere where the air is less dense or more dense, it has more ability to be affected by that. So we need to keep this ball down to be able to control that. Now, what can we do to provide those types of launch conditions where we're driving it low, having a little bit more control? Well, we're going to use our pressure plate here. There's really one simple thing that you need to do to become a better wedge player and accomplish all that we just talked about in those previous few seconds about what you need to do to be a better wedge player. And that all comes from address. When I get set up for address, what's going to happen is I'll maybe 50-50, maybe a little bit 60-40 with an iron, but probably going to be around 50-50. And what is going to happen is when I make that swing, because I'm going for power, what happens is I'm going to go back and my pressure is going to shift into my trail foot. You can see the board under my feet here. It shifts back. Then I'm going to load it up onto the front side, and then I'm going to swing the club and use that pressure shift to help me generate power. When we are hitting a wedge, that is not what we are looking for. We do not need power. The key to hitting a wedge and having good wedge control is controlling the loft. I can sacrifice speed because it's more important to get the loft of the club right and the delivery correct than it is to hit the ball with speed. If I swing really fast with a wedge, because we have so much loft, I end up adding more loft and the ball just goes higher. It goes higher, it spins more, it comes up short. So to control that, what we are going to do with the wedge instead is when I get set up, I'm going to set up with my weight 60%, maybe 70% on my lead side. And I'm going to leave it there. And not only am I going to leave it there, I'm going to increase it. My goal is to increase pressure into my lead side as much as I can throughout the entire motion. So much so that when I finish, I have 100% of my pressure on the lead side. That is my goal. Whether I actually achieve it or not, that's a different story. We're not here to talk about that part. We're just talking about what we can feel to hit a better wedge. So I get set up. I'm going to feel the board pressuring the front side a little bit more. So I can feel the right side for me, that's my trail side, a little bit higher. Then when I get set up, I'm going to feel the board pressuring on that lead side. As I go back, I want to feel the board pressure onto my front foot. That is going to start moving my body forward, my pressure forward. It does restrict my backswing a little bit. It'll keep it a little bit more compact, which in this case I think is a really good thing. That's going to allow us to strike the ball much more crisply. I can get a much more downward angle into the golf ball. And then because I'm catching that ball earlier on the arc, it's easier to have shaft lean or have less dynamic loft when I go to hit this shot. So we should see this ball come out a lot lower. When I do this, we'll see what we get on the numbers, but that is going to be my goal. So I'm set up, feel like I'm on the front side of the board just a little bit. As I start the swing, I'm going to increase and just keep increasing all the way through to the finish. Let's go ahead and try one. Pretty good there. You can see I almost fell off the board going frontwards. So clip that pretty good. Being a little bit higher on the board, maybe catch it a smidge thin, but the idea is there. That launch there, you can see my low point, 9.8 inches in front of the golf ball. That's excessive, but again, we are trying this on the board to really try this, but there's no doubt that I clip golf ball first. We've got 30.8 on that dynamic loft, launched that at 17. So again, pretty excessive with how we're drilling this using the pressure board, but I would take this same exact feeling into hitting a normal shot. The board is just exaggerating us here a little bit as we're going through. When I do this though, again, the goal is let's make really crisp contact, have this ball come out, and one other thing that we can look at is let's just look at some of the things that will help us. I hit that 80 yards, which is about right. Look at all of the spin that I generated from that shot. So this golf ball came out really low, but I've got almost 10,000 RPMs of spin. This ball's going to hit. This thing's going to rip. This is how we generate that stopping power, by hitting more down on it. We do have some loft, but we're taking some of it off. And then the clean contact helps produce the friction to make that golf ball spin. So I'll go ahead, let's do one more. So we're going ahead, set up about 60% or so. I'm just feeling enough where the board starts tipping to the front foot. I don't want to start all the way on the left side. I like to have some movement into the front foot. If you start all the way on the left side, what I find happens is people will go back and then you start to back out of it because you just have nowhere to go. So I'd like to see some movement into the front side where we're set up and then we move as we go with the club, have a little bit of movement. And again, the fact that we're more on this front side, that swing gets a little bit more compact, it gets a little bit more in control, and then obviously we hit the ball better too. So let's get set up. Just feeling the front side here. Not as good on that one, but you can still see 9,000 RPMs of spin. Clipped that one a little off the toe, so it rode up a little bit, but you can see still took loft off of that golf ball and got 9,000 RPMs of spin as we went through. So still a low launching shot there, 27 on the vertical launch as we go. So trying to get this golf ball under control, make this little setup adjustment and this little backswing adjustment too, where we're not going to shift back. We're going to start a little forward and we're going to keep pressuring forward to make ourselves a much more consistent and a much more in control wedge player. That's what we're doing. And again, if we're trying to lower scores, this is one of those three pillars that really matter when it comes to shooting lower scores. So get to working on the wedges. The season's coming up and it's going to be here before you know it. If you have any questions about it, please leave a comment down below. And if you want to see a drill that I like to do to help dial in the wedges, you can use this setup. Check this video out here about how I get my wedge yardages. That's something that I take out to the golf course and it helps me all the time. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.